What is going on, fellas? In this video, I want to talk about 6 hidden signs that you are triggered and don't even know it. First, let me go ahead and start by saying I am not a therapist. This is not therapeutic advice or anything like this. These are just tips, tools that I've picked up on in my life. I'm just sharing them with you. So do what you will with it. And yeah, I just want to go ahead and get that out the way. What does it mean when you are triggered, when you're emotionally triggered? It means that you are having a reaction to something in a way where it's not proportionate to what is actually happening. Like you're having like an overreaction to something. And these triggers stem from past things that have happened to you. But in the moment, somebody or something is happening to you, and on a deep level, it's reminding your system of something of your past, if that makes sense. Okay. I'm also going to use the word activation a lot too. For some reason, I don't really like the word triggered. I feel like it's too trendy. When you get activated, you tend to do things and say things that you would never do if you weren't activated. All right. So that's why in this video, I want to share 6 signs that may not be so clear. You might not really even notice that these are happening to you. Okay. Now, this is what I dealt with. This is something that I struggled with. This is something that I deal with pretty much on a daily basis. And I'm learning that people who deal with like trauma and who have had maybe tough upbringings and stuff like that, might have seen wild shit in their households, et cetera, et cetera. Our nervous systems react kind of in wild ways to certain things. All right. So I noticed that I was starting to notice like when I get activated, when I get triggered by something, because for the longest time in my life, I never was able to really recognize when that's happening, what that feels like, what that looks like. I was just reacting impulsively to whatever had pissed me off in the moment. And I'm learning there is so much value and you get so much more understanding of yourself when you realize when you are actually activated, when you were actually triggered, when your girl has said something to you that's pissed you off and got you now you're kind of like offline. You're not really yourself anymore. And that's going to lead me into this list. Let's go ahead and get right into it. The first hidden sign that you are triggered and don't even know it is that you lose self-control. You lose consciousness. I don't mean like you lose consciousness like somebody that knocked you out. That's not what I mean. It is almost like you've checked out though. By losing consciousness, I mean you are not able to act intentionally anymore. That ability has been taken from you because of the trigger, because of the impact and the heightened sense of this emotional state that you're in. It pretty much has hijacked your ability to remain calm and respond from a calm place. This is something that I struggle with quite a bit. This is something that I have to deal with. Like I'll use an example of like when I communicate with my ex, the mother of my 2 youngest children. When there's text exchange or an email exchange or I see something pop up, I can feel the activation in me. You know, I can feel that like cortisol release, that like fight or flight. For the longest time, I never recognized it. I just would respond to it like, oh shit, you just feel a certain way. But to take it back to what I was saying about when you lose consciousness, it means like you go offline. So, you know, for example, I might read a text message or an email from my ex, and they'll be so lengthy and so involved that I can feel myself become like overwhelmed even reading it. I can feel myself becoming triggered. I can feel myself stepping into that fight or flight. Like I got to protect myself. Like I have to protect my children, protect my relationship. It's not a great feeling either, but being able to recognize this feeling has become like invaluable, because in recognizing it, I gain more control in how I choose to respond to it. I don't have to like just react to it. And I ain't gonna lie, this takes intentional work doing this, because you can easily just get like hijacked. That word really stands out to me, you know, because when you get triggered, like I said, your ability to think rationally, it's gone. It's out the window. You're not here anymore. So that's number one, is that you lose consciousness, you lose self-control, you lose that ability to kind of operate in a conscious way. And by conscious, I mean intentional. You're doing what you want to do. You're not being just taken by the moment. Number 2, the second hidden sign that you were triggered is that you have tunnel vision. Now, I don't know if you really think about this when this happens to you, when something like sets you off. When I get that text message or I get that email, I'll have like tunnel vision on it. It's almost like nothing else is really mattering in the moment because I'm triggered, because I'm activated. Like I said, it's not a healthy place to be in. But this is stuff that you want to learn how to recognize when it's happening so that you can learn how to kind of shift out of it. All right. So that's number, like I said, that's number two, is that you have tunnel vision. Your focus, your window becomes like you can't see nothing else. You can't hear nothing else. I'm just locked in on this right now. And I'm locked in probably not the healthiest of ways. So becoming aware of that is very powerful. The more awareness you can put on these things, the more control you have over yourself. Now, the third hidden sign that you are triggered or activated is that you're going to have this like wide awake feeling. This is kind of how I know when I get triggered. It's like this sense of awakeness, like alertness. The bells and whistles are going off in your body and you're awake now. You're on high alert, and not in a good way. You'll feel like awake. You'll feel like this sense of energy boost, I guess, in a way, but it's like not in like the greatest way, because it's like you're in protective mode of yourself. Everything I'm describing on this list is something that I really like have learned to really just feel. And I've learned the more that you can feel it and just really shine that light of awareness on it, you have so much more control of yourself. And again, this is coming from a person who used to lose himself in the moment when I would get like emotionally triggered, when I would get to a heightened state. Not that state where you're kind of like, when somebody pisses you off and you're like, damn, that really pissed me off. And you're able to say it like that, all cool, calm, and collected. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when you didn't lost your shit and you didn't went off and you didn't said something that you regretted, you didn't done something that you're regretting. That's what I'm talking about when you get to that level. And these are some of the signs that these are some of the things that are going on, but we're in such that heightened state of emotion that our awareness is not on it, and we are just not here. You just checked out. That's what used to happen to me. We just check out. The fourth hidden sign that you are triggered is the need to fix. This is something that when I get triggered, I jump into like this problem solving. It's like this, it's almost like this sense of like that I've been wronged. This sense of that I've been wronged and that I have to fix this. I have to figure out what is the solution to this problem, because I can't move forward until I figure it out. And the way that feels to me sometimes is just kind of like I said, it's kind of like just scattered, just all kind of like, and it plays back into that sense of like alertness, like you're like awake, So that's how I really know when I'm triggered, when something's activated me. And yeah, it's just something that you want to keep an eye on. If any of these things are resonating with you, you say something in the comments to let me know that this is resonating with you. Now that leads me to the fifth hidden sign that you're triggered, and that is you're acting impulsively. So that's what I mean when your reactions and your responses to things get hijacked. You have this impulsive, erratic type of need to solve and fix. And I just gotta, one of the things that I notice about myself, like when I get triggered, is that I have to like share it. I need to bounce it off somebody. Hey, what you think about this? Hey, how you, it's like this need to like express it to somebody. Maybe that's seeking some validation or seeking support, or, there's probably something else underlying there. But I do notice on the physiological level, on the body shifting level, that is something that I do experience. Yeah, just that impulsiveness, that ability to, you become unable to like slow down. You're not able to like slow down. And that's why it's so important to recognize all these things so that you can learn to slow down and soothe yourself, soothe your nervous system when your shit gets all hijacked, bro. Because that's, like I said, that's when we do and say things that we don't mean. That's when we get into trouble. And that's when we make a lot of mistakes that can be avoided. Hey, if you're enjoying this list so far, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Now, let me go ahead and hop right back into this real quick. All right. Now, the sixth sign that you are triggered is that you shut down and you like avoid. This is something else that I used to do too. It's like I get triggered maybe in my relationship or something like that. And it's kind of like I start stonewalling. I don't want to speak. I don't want to say anything because I'm in my head in analytical mode, and I'm in that problem solving fixer mode, and I'm activated. So that's another sign that you got, some things are going on, that you're triggered, that you need to take some time. You need to step away. And I know I said I had 6 signs on this list, but another one that's coming to mind, another hidden sign that you may not recognize when you get triggered is that, well, for me, is that my breathing patterns will become shortened. Like it's like a shortness of breath, or, you know, it's more of like your breathing becomes shallow. You're not taking these long, deep breaths that you usually would take. See my kid in the background. I was talking about shortness of breath. I notice when we get triggered, or when I get triggered, become very like restricted, become tight. You know, when people used to say, man, I'm tight, that's what they're talking about. Your body just kind of like clenches up. You're in that protective mode. And yeah, that's just another hidden sign that I've noticed as I've been on this journey. And the reason that I'm sharing this list is not to just highlight some things that you can notice. This is really to really highlight things so that once you notice these things, you can really start to like correct them. It's one thing to kind of just like recognize something and be like, oh yeah, I do that. But it's a whole nother thing to be like, man, I do that and I need to change that. And I'm gonna start working on how to actually change that behavior, because that behavior is not serving me anymore. I've learned that, man, when you can spotlight your triggers, man, when you can spotlight when you've shifted. And what I mean by, I don't mean like shifting, like moving from side to side. I mean like when something was said to you and something was done to you, and it's got your ass lit up inside. You are lit up and you may be demonstrating some of these signs that I am sharing. So if you got any value out of this video, again, smash that like button for me, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you check out my playlist on emotional intelligence. If that's something you're into, if you're trying to improve how you control your emotions, how aware you are of other people's emotions around you, make sure you check out that playlist, all right? And I will see you there. Peace.